She's back. Yeah. Yeah. Welcome to another reaction video. And you guys know I love these reaction videos because they're not just any reaction video. This is girl talk. This is by the girl for the girls. So if you're a girl and you love girl talk, come here, baby boo. This is for you. So this week we're reacting to When I Knew It Was Time to Leave. When I knew it was time to walk out that door. This one is going to be a little bit sadder, but I feel like it's important for us to talk about sometimes you just got to leave that man alone. So let's get into it. Let's go.
This is how I knew that it was time to leave my marriage. At first, it was really subtle. It was just how I was feeling every day when I woke up. I was in constant anxiety. I was really, really emotional, and I was just confused all the time after leaving conversations. And I genuinely was like, maybe my brain is broken. Maybe something's wrong with my brain. I started to honestly question my sanity a little bit. I couldn't sleep properly. And then it got to a point where I went numb and I wasn't feeling any emotions anymore. And I just felt like a shell of myself. Slowly, the 7 years that I was with him.
7 years is a long time. Do you understand? I feel like I say this all the time. One of my biggest fears is wasting my time, especially in a relationship. Like, I give you 7 whole years of my life, almost a decade. And I know there's a phrase that's like, it's better to have loved than, it's better to have loved and lost than not to have loved at all. Girl, I would rather have not loved at all. Because what do you mean? I loved you for 7 years? 7 years? Do you understand?
My identity and my life just became really, really small. And while I chose to focus all my energy into the marriage, and I didn't have any bandwidth left to maintain friendships outside of the relationship because the relationship was so difficult. And then I looked around one day and I was like, I don't have a support system anymore.
I think that's a big indicator. Like what she said, the relationship was difficult. Because I know people say like, oh, marriage is hard, marriage is this, marriage is that. But I feel like for me, if I'm in any kind of relationship and I have to describe it as difficult or hard or, stressful, why the hell am I going to stay in any situation, especially a relationship like that is difficult? Yes, things outside, outside factors might come in. There might be days where, you're not your best, he's not his best, you're not, vibing like you usually do. I'm not saying every day is going to be perfect, but at the core of it, our relationship, our love should be easy. So
ended up isolating myself more and more, and I didn't realize I was doing it. I just remember telling myself all the time, like, it's gonna get better. I just need to work on myself and it will all sort itself out. And I just kept waking up and nothing was changing over years. And I was like, what if I wake up in 10 more years and it's the exact same as it is now? That would be way scarier than it would be to start over.
What she said is so true. It is scarier to stay with someone for 10 plus years. And then once you're like, I don't know, in your 50s and your 60s, and you're like, damn, this person is never going to change. But you've already spent like 20, 30 years with this person. Although you can find love at any age, but I just feel like, girl, I just want to be comfortable. When I'm 60, I want to already have my man by my side. I'm not trying to be searching for a man at 60. Before we get any further into this video, let me introduce myself. For those who don't know, my name is Dar, short for Darlene. And if you are new to this channel, I just want to say welcome. I hope you subscribe for some girl talk, because this is a channel by the girl for the girls. And if you're coming back to your girl, thank you so much for being so loyal and beautiful and amazing. Please join the nation. We can go back to the video now.
How I knew it was time for a divorce. We're going to talk about that as I take my braids out. So people ask me that, and I always say, your body keeps the score. That's the first thing that you need to know, that your body keeps the score. I was always so physically sick when I was intimate with him, during and after. I'm talking about nauseous, vomiting, body chills, aches, pains. I would be in the bathroom for like an hour after, always. And not only that, I never finished, if you know what I mean.
Oh. Well, that's just sad, girl. That just should not be. But you know what she said about her being physically ill? I saw this one story where this woman said, like, she was married to her husband for how many years, right? And during the whole years that they were married, they were trying to, have a baby. And they could never have a baby. No matter what they did, they could not have a baby. She leaves him, starts a new relationship, boom, pregnant. So I feel like, honestly, your body knows. Like, you mentally might not be prepared to know what your soul, your spirit already knows. Your body already knows that man is not for you. You just have not yet accepted it.
And I was so concerned that something was wrong with me. So I went to the doctor, got every single test done you could possibly get done. Is it endometriosis? Do I have some sort of cervical condition? What is it? I'm talking blood work, ultrasounds. There were so many days that I sat up and I cried and I worried and I researched, is something wrong with me? And the whole time my body just hated him. Nothing wrong with me, everything wrong with him.
For me to be able to be physically intimate with a man, I need to also be there emotionally. Like, if we're in a fight, if we have any kind of thing going on, I will not be able, like, my body will not let me just like, go ahead, do what you got to do. I can't do it. You know what? I feel like if more men understood that for a lot of women, physical intimacy is connected to mental and emotional intimacy. Like, if I'm saying that right, like, I cannot get physical with a man if my mental is not right. How about you take the time to understand what I need emotionally before you start demanding my body? Hello?
But the second thing was that I started to have major panic attacks. And this is somebody that has never had a panic attack in their life prior to this. There was always a heaviness associated with this man, and I was scared of him. And my body, because my nervous system was dysregulated, would go into fight or flight, essentially. And I was having these panic attacks, and I had to be on medication to be home. I had to be medicated to deal with this man. And I want you to understand the depth and gravity of that. This is the man I'm supposed to feel the safest with as we share a home together. And I had to be medicated. The second that I left him, I never took that medication again because the panic attacks completely dissipated. I am now able to have intercourse and it be the most sensual, magical, safest space for me, and that's something I haven't experienced in a really, really long time. The difference is, though, now I know that your body keeps the score.
First of all, I'm happy she left that man because that man was slowly bringing her to her grave. Like, I don't think you understand how much of an impact stress, anxiety, all that has on your health. Like, thank God she left before her body really started to, shut down, because that can really happen. So yay for her. And I realized in life, the more you fight, and I don't know if you guys have heard this quote, but it went something like, God will give you the same lesson over and over and over and over and over until you learn what you're supposed to learn. Maybe that man is still cheating on you because you should have left him 2 cheats ago. Maybe that man is not treating you the way that you're supposed to be treated still because he's not the one for you, but you refuse to open your eyes and see that he is not the one for you.
Here are 5 signs I've learned that tell me it's time to walk away from a relationship. As a clinical research professional who understands the impact of stress on the body and brain, I've seen people say that walking away from relationships is inhumane. What I've learned is that staying in relationships that repeatedly harm is actually harmful for both parties. The number one indicator that it's time to walk away is that repair is not happening. No matter how many times you have a conversation, it may end in apologies, but there's never any behavioral change. That's not called a resolution, it's called a reset. And I don't want to be on a roller coaster where I feel like I can never get off. Remaining in these constant feedback loops keep your body in a chronic state of stress because your brain eventually learns that there's no real safety or predictability. Relationships are supposed to feel like a safe space, and even if there's difficult conversation trying to work through the issue, that doesn't mean it's not necessarily safe. Accountability doesn't mean there's no safety. Effort without progress is still harmful, and until there's change, healthy distance is perfectly acceptable. The second sign is when my body tenses up around people, but when I'm not around them, I relax. You know when you feel that gush of anxiety going through your body. You just feel extremely unsettled. That's a psychological response that deserves being listened to. I'm of the belief that I don't think people understand how powerful our brains are. The reason why we have these responses is because your brain is trying to tell you something. One of the main things our brain is designed to do is keep us safe. When a relationship constantly puts your body in a state of stress and that information goes to your brain, creating distance is not a form of weakness. That's you acting on information.
Yes. Creating distance, choosing yourself, choosing to put your health, your mental health, your physical health, your emotional health. That is not a weakness. That is not you being selfish. That is not you giving up. I actually think that's a sign of strength and a sign of growth, because even though you don't want to do this thing, even though it breaks your heart to leave or to take the space that you need, you're still going to do it because you know what you deserve and you know that this person is not giving you what you deserve. And what she said is so true. Every relationship, if you're in a relationship and you feel unsafe, that is not the relationship for you. If you're in a relationship and that, especially for women, I feel like the true indicator that a woman is in a healthy relationship is if she can be soft. Can you be soft in your relationship? Can you cry? Can you go through your emotions? Can you go to your partner and be like, I don't feel good today, or this is what I need from you today? And are they receptive? And if they're not, they are not the person for you.
The conversation shift from the actual issue at hand to the boundary that you have placed. Distance is a boundary. And just because you put distance between you and someone doesn't mean that you're exiling them from your life. It could mean that you just don't see them as frequently, you don't talk as much, you don't share personal information. If somebody is more focused on those three things as opposed to actually resolving the issue at hand, tells me those precautions are there with good reason and I should continue to keep them intact. For me, a lot of these signs are just in alignment with self-respect and dignity. I've learned that self-respect means I'm not going to be negotiating my basic needs with you. If I need distance because of whatever action, that's what I need. And dignity is me not having to over-explain why I need that distance. Number 4 is when I realized that my endurance in a relationship is replacing the mutual care. I don't know where this thought came from me, but I always used to thought that withstanding a relationship or staying in a relationship or just the act of endurance was a form of love. In reality, sometimes when it comes to relationship, endurance is just fear because you feel as though if you don't keep pushing through, the love that that person has for you or the care they have for you will be removed. I've learned that endurance is constantly praised, but without repair, endurance isn't love, just me trying to survive the relationship. And when you're in a constant state of survival, that's associated with stress. And we know I don't like bad stress. And the last sign is when I feel like grace is starting to replace my health, my sleep, my sanity. I think it's very important to extend grace to other people, but I also think it's harmful to excuse certain behavior. If I have to spend time explaining someone else's behavior to other people so it doesn't look as bad, or constantly telling myself they didn't mean it even though it keeps happening, it's time to create that healthy distance.
Oh, that was tea. That was so freaking tea. Like, a relationship cannot survive with one person. Like, if I'm going to be the one constantly putting in the work in a relationship, I might as well just be by myself. Because I can be in a perfectly fine relationship with myself. I don't stress me out. I want to be relaxed. I want to be soft. I want to be in my feminine energy. And if you're going to take that feminine energy away from me, so now I always have to think about this. What if he does this? What if he does that? Now, this and this. No, I want to be soft. I want to be relaxed. I want to be in peace. And if you're going to take my peace away from me, maybe you shouldn't be in my life, boo. Oh, tea.
And I used to tell my ex all the time, the switch is gonna flip and I'm gonna be done. You keep thinking that because you get these chances and because I explain myself to you, that you get a million chances forever. You don't. It's just as a woman, at some point, it just clicks and you stop explaining yourself. It just breaks down a little bit each time and maybe you just...
When a woman is finally at her wit's end and she's like, you know what, I'm done. And then the man comes back and he's like, I don't know where this came from. This came out of left field. She never gave me anything that said she was unhappy. Yes, she did. Yes, she did. You just didn't listen. Because the thing about a woman, right, is we will give you grace until we don't. We will talk. We will give you communication and love until we don't. We will give you the chance to correct yourself until we don't. And I think what men don't realize is, like she said, it's a flip. once I'm done with you, I am done with you. So I feel like if more men knew that, they would act sooner. Because if I'm having a conversation with you now, telling you what I need, I already expect it to be done. I expect that you're going to do what I tell you that I need. So if you don't, that tells me that you don't give an F. So the next time, it's not going to be a conversation. I'm just going to be done.
You should know that it's time to leave when that person brings out the worst possible version of you towards them. You should know when to leave a friendship. You should know when to distance yourself from family. You should know when to leave a relationship. If you recognize that before you got in this relationship, you were less irritable, your nervous system was not in your ass, you know what I'm saying? You were less aggressive, you weren't crying as much, or even
that, like, if a person is changing you, you gotta go. Like, if you used to be a fun girl, who, like, you joked all the time, you were always laughing, you're always, going out, and then switch to you're always angry. Like, you feel like you're always angry and you don't know why you're always angry. It's time to go. One of the worst things that can happen is you lose yourself in a relationship. And it's not like easy to get back. Like, it takes process to get back to you, because your body has been in like a fight or flight response for so long that sometimes you forget who you were. Sometimes you forget who you used to be before that relationship took your life from you.
pay attention to how you treat your family. Pay attention to how your friendships are low-key failing because you don't even have, your cup isn't even full enough to give to everybody else that's in your life.
Yes, it's like that what the first girl said, how one day she realized that she didn't have anybody around her because she was so busy trying to keep that relationship alive that she didn't have enough space for everyone else in her life that actually mattered. So when she was done with that man, she looked around and realized, like, wow, there's no one here. It's just me and him. I want every girl to know that we get into a relationship thinking that it's going to last a really long time. That's going to be the love of your life, and that's fine. However, you should never be neglecting the relationships that you already have in your life for that one person. You should not stop hanging out with your friends. You should not stop talking to your mom, your dad. You should be nurturing every single relationship in your life. Not only because, like, one day you might need those relationships, but also because nobody can survive on one person. Like, it takes a community. Like, you need, just as much as you need your man, you need your girls. You need your girl time. You need your girl talk. I don't usually react to men stuff, but maybe let's listen to what this man has to say.
You guys want to know when it's really time to just walk away from your marriage? If you guys are new here, my name is Scott. I'm an ordained minister, and I'm also a certified divorce recovery coach. If you are married to someone who treats you like dirt, if you are married to someone who abuses you, talks to you like you're a dog, tells you that you're stupid, tells you that you can't do anything without them, those who tell you that if you leave, they're going to do something to themselves, they're going to take the kids, they're going to take the house. But one of the biggest things that you should be looking for is when you approach this person with your concerns and your needs, and you express that you want to fix your marriage, that you want things to change. Maybe you want to go to counseling. Maybe you want to join church. Maybe you want to start praying together, join a group somewhere, whatever it is. When you ask them to let's try to fix it and make some improvements, and they look at you and they say no, that is the biggest sign that it's time for you to go, because that shows you that they are unwilling to change anything. And I don't know about you guys, but where I'm at in my life right now, if you can't give me the bare minimum, I'm not going to be there. Think about this, guys. If you have children, would you be okay with your son or your daughter being married to someone like your spouse?
You know what? Like I said, I don't usually let men talk on my channel. That sounded crazy, but it's true. I don't usually,
In this courtroom, men are not allowed to breathe when women are speaking. Thank you. It's a new rule.
But he did get some tea. He wasn't wrong. He was not wrong. He was not wrong. What the last thing he said, that is good advice. If you're currently in a relationship and you're unsure, ask yourself, if you had a daughter or if you had a son, would you be okay with them dating your partner, being married to your partner? And if the answer is no, or you're like, maybe that's a sign, boo. Maybe that's a sign. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you guys want to talk about next for our girl talk. Yeah, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye. Please take care of yourselves. Mwah.